Mr. Board of Directors, I welcome you to Fontana Limited shareholders' sixth annual general meeting since it became listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So let us begin with an acknowledgement to the higher power above, and Stephanie will lead the proceedings.
Good morning again, everyone. Asking you please to bow your heads in prayer. Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for today, Lord. I thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy. I pray, Almighty Father, that we'll have a good meeting. I pray that you'll continue to guide our directors, give them insight and wisdom and foresight for the future. Help us, Almighty God, to continue to grow as a company and continue to impact Jamaica positively. Continue to cover us, Almighty Father, as we trust in you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our secretary, Ms. Denise Douglas, has confirmed that the required quorum of 2 members present in person or by proxy has been met, and I will call this meeting to order. Seated at the head table are Ann Chan, Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, Raymond Therian, Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer. We have a few absentees, and present Ms. Denise Douglas, our Company Secretary. Finally, my last introductions are to Mr. Dashan Dodd and Ms. Delcine Kelly. Okay. Representatives of Crichton Mullings and Associates Audit Firm, the company's current auditors. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now let us proceed with the business of this meeting as set out in the notice. The notice convening the meeting has been circulated to members, and I now propose that we take such notice as having been read. For recording purposes, I request that anyone speaking at this meeting please state his or her name. I remind members that only registered shareholders or their appointed proxies or representatives can move or second motions, ask questions, and vote. We have provided a microphone for questions and comments from the floor, and we ask that you use it. I now ask the Secretary to proceed with the business of the meeting.
The accounts and the reports of the directors and auditors have been circulated previously to all members, and at this point, I call on Mr. Dashan Dodd, the representative of Crichton Mullins and Associates, to read the auditor's report, which may be found on page 50 of the annual report.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Independent Auditor's Report to the members of Fontana Limited. Opinion. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Fontana Limited, the company, which is comprised of the Statement of Financial Position as of June 30th, 2024, the Statement of Comprehensive Income, Statement of Changes in Equity, and a Statement of Cash Flows for the year then ended, and a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as of June 30th, 2024, and of its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with IFRS accounting standards as issued by International Accounting Standards Board IFRS accounting standards and the requirements of the Jamaican Companies Act, the Act. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards and auditing ISAs. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the company in accordance with international ethics Standard Board for Accountants, International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independent Standards IESBA Code. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA Code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgment, were of most significance in our audit of the financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statements as a whole, and in forming our opinion thereon, we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. Key audit matter number 1, carrying value of inventory. Inventory is reported at 1.4 billion and represents 25% of total assets of the company as of June 30th, 2024. The inventory consists of a large volume of small and seasonal items. Inherently, the large volume of inventory creates a challenge for management to conduct inventory counts throughout the year, which contributes to the risk of inventory being materially misstated. In determining the current value of inventory, management focuses on conducting periodic counts on high-value departments from the overall inventory. How the matter was addressed in our audit. Our audit procedures to address the key matter relating to the carrying value of inventory included the following: reviewing the company's standard operating procedures in order to assess the effectiveness of internal controls over inventory. We observe stock counts at each of the company's stores. As a part of this process, we selected samples to conduct our independent counts at each store. The samples from our stock counts were cross-checked against the inventory system, and variances were extrapolated to the inventory population of each store. Based on the procedures performed, the current value of inventory is fairly stated. Key audit matter number 2, goodwill impairment assessment. The company has goodwill of 165.46 million arising from the acquisition of the Barbican store operations, which represents 2.9% of the total asset as at the year end. Annual impairment assessment requires management's judgment and estimation in determining estimated future earnings from the store, taking into consideration the inflation rate, growth rates, and other underlying assumptions. How the matter was addressed in our audit. Our audit procedures to address the key audit matter relating to the impairment of goodwill assessment included the following: we have reviewed management's assertions, including the identification of the underlying cash-generating assets. We have assessed and reviewed the store's historical performance and compare actual results to the approved budget. The analysis of the external and internal environment was taken into account in the assessment of the store's performance. Based on the procedures performed, management assessment of goodwill appears reasonable. Other information. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises information including the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon. The annual report is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. Our opinion on the financial statements does not cover the other information, and we will not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available and, in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. When we read the annual report, if we conclude that there is a material misstatement, we are required to communicate with the board of directors. Responsibilities of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with IFRS accounting standards and the Act, and for such internal control as management determine is necessary to enable the preparation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the company's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing, as applicable, matters relating to going concern and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the company or to cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. The board of directors is responsible for overseeing the company's financial reporting process. Auditors' responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it is not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with ISAs will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if, individually or in the aggregate, they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of these financial statements. A further description of our responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement is included in the appendix to this auditor's report. This description, which is located at pages 5 to 6, forms part of our auditor's report. Report on additional matters as required by the Act. We have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been maintained so far as appears from the examination of those records, and the financial statements, which are in agreement therewith, give the information required by the Act in the manner required. The engagement partner on the audit resulting in this independent auditor's report is Larry Mullins. Signed, Crichton Mullins and Associates, Chartered Accountants, Kingston, Jamaica, September 18, 2024. Appendix to the independent auditor's report. As part of an audit in accordance with ISAs, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. We also obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purposes of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the company's internal control. We also evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. We also conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounting, and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the company to cease to continue as a going concern. We also evaluate the overall presentation, structure, and content of the financial statements, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transactions and event in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We communicate with the board of directors regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we identify during our audit. We also provide the board of directors with a statement that we have complied with relevant ethical requirements regarding independence, and to communicate to them all relationships and other matters that may reasonably be thought to bear on our independence and, where applicable, related safeguards. From the matters communicated with the board of directors, we determined those matters that were of most significance in the audit of the financial statements of the current period and are therefore the key audit matters. We describe these matters in our auditor's report unless law or regulation precludes public disclosure about the matters, or when, in extremely rare circumstances, we determine that a matter should not be communicated in our report because the adverse consequences of doing so would reasonably be expected to outweigh the public interest benefits of such communication. This is the end of the auditor's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. I now ask that you take the director's report, which may be found on page 19 of the annual report, as read. Take it as read. Thank you for agreeing.
I will now ask our Chief Executive Officer, Ann Chang, to make a presentation.
Okay, here we go. It seems like we were just here last year. It seemed like last week. We've had a lot going on and we have a lot more coming up. I know you're excited to hear about that. Just a quick picture of our board of directors. The only change, I think, Laren came on last year at this time, but Jackie and Heather are still with us, and our trustee secretary who never misses a meeting, Denise, who made it all the way here to Montego Bay. 7 locations island-wide, and if you guys have been watching the news, you'll see it's soon to be 11 right around the corner. We're really excited. It's been a lot of work, but so next year when we come back, we'll have lots more stuff on the map. What are some key highlights from last year? First, we had our 55th anniversary gala. We had it at the Pegasus in Kingston, and it was fabulous. We had luxury gifts for all of our longstanding employees who ranged from 5 years to 55, actually 56. So it was really fabulous. You can see all the pictures. I think there's some in the video. Everybody came out really decked out. It was a great time. We opened Portmore, our latest, greatest, 25,000 square feet. We opened it in 2023, November 8th. I know it seems like so long ago, we're in 2025. You always forget that it comes to June. We had an all managers conference at the beginning of last year with everybody from the island, our corporate teams and all of our store managers, and we had a great session sharing ideas, doing lots of stuff, getting ready for the new year. We had one planned for this year, but we have so much going on with the Monarch and a lot of other things, we had to put it off, but we're gonna try and do it a little bit later. We also, I think last year when I spoke to you, we have really been putting an emphasis on technology helping us to grow. And as such, we embarked on two major technology upgrades. So they're still ongoing, but they started during the year. One of them is a brand new point of sale system for the pharmacy, which is going to enhance the customer experience, which is the most important thing, and just bring up sort of, we always say that we're like cutting edge, and this will make us really cutting edge. We also started a new HR system called Orange HR to help manage our very growing team. We're taking a phased approach, but it's going to help us become more efficient, help our employees. They can do everything on their phone, from their leave requests, everything like that. So as we continue to grow, it's just a way for our HR team to be more efficient. We did a lot of customer training last year. We did a mystery shopper, and we did extensive customer training with all of the team members. Plus, we did data protection training to be ready for all the data protection stuff that came in. And then the last really big thing we did was we did a full HR audit. As we continue to grow, and later on in the presentation, you can see how many employees we have. We wanted to really see what's the best way for our HR team to operate, knowing now we have so many people across so many locations. So we opened the doors to Portmore on November 8th. So I don't know if all of you know, but 8 is very lucky in Chinese. So we specifically wanted it either the 8th or the 18th. So we opened on the 8th. Has everything that you would expect from a Fontana. State-of-the-art pharmacy, beauty. The beauty area looks amazing, and it's been doing extremely well in Portmore. It was clearly a need that they had there. Gorgeous home decor, a business center, courier services. A few interesting things about Portmore. So it's one of the areas that we have really gone green. We saved over $40 million by having solar on the roof to help us operate. And we are actually getting ready to launch. JPS has a little hub inside the store. Our marketing team will, as soon as it's finished, they're going to put out a little press release. But it's really to serve their customers who find technology difficult. So it's a space within our store. And if some of you have been to the various locations, it's something we do in a lot of the locations, a store within a store. Try and have everything for our customers under one roof. It was a great opening. We had His Worship Leon Thomas, the mayor of Portmore. We had the Honorable Alando Turlong, member of Parliament, and Tammy and Wayne Mitchell, our celebrities. So it was fabulous. We had a great opening. It was amazing. Okay, so now I know this is what you really want to know about, though, the results. So how did we do? Well, we had a great year. Our revenues grew to a record $8.1 billion, which is an 11% growth. Our profit before taxes were down slightly, but I don't think there was a business in Jamaica who wasn't hit by increased salaries, increased security, all of that kind of stuff. And we also started paying taxes, the 50%. Our tax holiday was over. So I think considering all of that, we still had a fabulous year, and we are building on it for the next year. If you look at this, you can see our sales. I mean, it's interesting when you look at it over 5 years. We've almost doubled our sales in 5 years, which is pretty amazing. It's actually 80% growth, but if you look at the chart, it looks like it's almost double. We continue to see a lot of growth in our beauty. Of course, we are at the core of pharmacy, but health and beauty kind of go hand in hand, and we've really been putting a big emphasis on beauty over the years. And at the end of the presentation, I'll tell you a little bit more of some of our future plans to kind of capitalize on the beauty as well. I think we've been really good at adapting to market changes like we always do. So I think we're lucky that we're very diverse. So we always have a lot of areas. If one isn't doing amazing, we always have other areas to pick it up. So our gross profit was up substantially, 16%, which is pretty good. And our gross margin was also up. And that's a lot to do with how we're buying, using the strength that we have now with having so many locations. And just so you know, I mean, we support so much in the local market, but you can't get everything here. So we do import from a number of different places to try and get this efficiency: China, Panama, the US, Canada, the UK, and South America. We're kind of an international company now. So our earnings were 0.47, very healthy, and the return on equity was 20%. Strong return for you, our shareholder. Well, we're all shareholders in here. What else? So in 5 years, again, if you look at the trend, it's over 100% growth. Our net assets grew by 10.6%. And this is mostly through inventories, which goes hand in hand with, as our sales increase, our inventories also increase. It's our biggest asset as a company, well, besides our people. The dividends, we approved 2 dividends this year that were paid out. I'm sure you guys as shareholders were all very happy about that. And since we have come on the market, we have paid out 2 dividends every single year. So, happy? So, I mean, everything from our financial has been a very positive story. I hope I never have to get up here and talk about poor results. We're very lucky. Our debt to equity ratio, it came down a little bit. We're right at a 1. So I think that really is a testament to our strength as a company. It's very consistent. We look at everything. We don't just keep our eye on the top line. We look at the whole mix. And our 2 CFO and our financial controller both here to, help us make sure that we continue to meet that. We've actually been improving our inventory turns, so from 3.8 to 4.2, and it's a goal of ours. And I think when we add Monarch to the mix now, we're going to see that turn even faster, which will be great for us. So I mentioned our assets are up, mostly due to inventory. We have a lot of cash on hand. It was up 6% to $1.7 billion. But you guys can see we've been saving for a rainy day in the hopes of this kind of stuff coming up. So with Monarch, and we have some other great things planned that I can't really talk about right now, but coming up. So the primary source of our liquidity is from our operating activities, just the cash that we make from the stores. All right, so our team, we are now 530 people strong. And when we come next year, when we add Monarch, we're probably going to be close to like 650, 700. That's the hope, that as we take them over and continue to grow, we add more people. We did 1,170 hours of training, and I mentioned it before. We did extensive customer service training. We did data protection training. We really are trying to reinvest in our employees and to make Fontana a great place to work. We did a lot of stuff. We have a lot of employee recognition programs to try and help us with attendance, to help us with punctuality. We have an employee of the quarter that is across all locations, so we have that. We've been trying to improve our benefits. It's interesting. So we have a pension plan, and we just had a call recently with the company, and they said, well, first they congratulated us because they said only 20% of companies in Jamaica have a pension plan for their employees. So I'm really happy to see that we are, it's another way that we're demonstrating how much we care about our employees. We started an employee wellness breakfast program. It makes it a little more difficult because we're all over the place. We don't have a place where we can have a central canteen. So that's a bit of a challenge to try and do that, being in so many locations and so many parishes. So we're trying our best to adapt that way. So the breakfast program is sort of the first start. And we have a lot of other things during the year as well to help them. And then you can see from the chart, the bulk of our team is now in Kingston, and after Monarch, that's probably going to go to about 50%. But you can see it's Kingston, then Mobay, Portmore, Ochi and Mandeville are similar, and then Savlamar. They have a lot of fun at work. If you guys follow us on social media, you see it. Even this week, I think today they're dressed in purple for employee appreciation. Yesterday was yellow for endometriosis. They had Jamaica Day. So we try and have a lot of fun, break up the monotony of coming to work every single day. They have a lot of like little luncheons. We give them a lot of gifts. So it's Employee Appreciation Day today and International Women's Day tomorrow. So we're selling both of them together. But we try to make a big deal about all of those things. And so we have prizes today for all of the different locations, just like some fun stuff like that. But you can see that long list. We have a lot of stuff that we do. They love to dress up. Who doesn't? It makes you feel, better. Like if you go to costume parties, everybody has so much fun. So they get to dress up a lot. So they have a lot of fun at work. So what else do we do? We take our CSR very seriously. We established the Fontana Foundation, and for us, our emphasis was on education. So we have 2 scholarships. One is the Lucas Tarian Memorial Scholarship. That is at UE. And then we also have the Angela Chang Memorial Scholarship that is at UTEC. So we specifically tried to do one that was pharmacy related, and then the Lucas Tarian one is specifically for a boy in business. So in addition to all of the other CSR stuff that we have that's through Fontana, we established this one, and we fund it almost exclusively through donations at the stores and then what we kick in. It is our intention to try and do more. We're just so busy doing everything else. So in addition to the foundation, another tradition we have is I talk about how we like to invest in our employees. So we have an employee scholarship award, and this is open to all employees that have been there, I think, 6 months or more, I think maybe a year or more for their children. We have it for PEP. We also have it at the high school level and a university level. So this is just a picture of some of our recipients. We hold a nice luncheon for them so they have to apply. They have to have a certain minimum level. And then we choose them, and then we usually have like a first, second, and third in each one, and we have a nice luncheon where the directors attend and the parents all come, and it's amazing. The parents are so like proud and so happy, and the kids, it's a really great event. So one of the biggest ones that we do is at Christmas. We have been doing the wishing tree, I think, 8 years now. And every parish that we're in, we choose a children's home or hospital, and our customers can also, we give them a discount, and they can purchase a gift at a discounted price. And the truth is, the bulk of it is actually purchased most of the time by our employees. They love this initiative, and they really contribute that way. And then if there are no gifts bought, we contribute to the rest of them. So it doesn't matter which home or how many, every child that is in that home or in the hospital will get a gift. It's one of the best initiatives I think we have, and we've been doing it, I think, Steph, 7 or 8 years now? Yeah. So one of the things we also have done every single year since we opened the Barbican location in Kingston, which is our first step into Kingston, is, we're in a little bit of a rough area. So we have a New Year's treat every year for them. So we've been doing it for almost 12 years now. And it's for the whole community. And we get our suppliers to help us. They get lots of treats like food, school stuff. It's just amazing. And they really look forward to it. So that's 12 years strong that we've been doing it. So there are too many to even name. I'm going to let Stephanie go through them, but we have like the unicycle. We've partnered with them for a few years to give uniforms back to schools. This year, a big one that we're doing is partnering with Project STAR. And the reason we are partnering with Project STAR is so that we feel we can have a bigger impact if somebody is totally focused on that initiative, as opposed to us doing a lot of these smaller ones. So we've become a big investor in Project STAR. those are just some of them. And then every month, one of our strategies also for CSR is every parish that we're in, we try to support a lot of the smaller initiatives that are going on. That's one way that we support the community, through either schools or events that they're having, whether it's baskets, treats, that type of stuff. So we do a lot of smaller initiatives all through the year in every single parish that we are in. And this is just a list of some of them. And it ranges from like sports to education, to all those kinds of stuff. So what is the outlook for the year? Well, I had brought up before our push on technology. So we hope to complete our pharmacy initiative. Again, it's a brand new system. It's going to give us a lot more flexibility. It's going to be an enhanced customer experience, which is always the most important goal. It's important for us to be efficient, but we also want to make sure that the customer experience is better. I mentioned the new HR system that we're phasing out. So I mentioned that employees can use it for their phone to like request their vacation, all of that kind of stuff, but it also has a recruiting tool. It's basically like helping all of our HR, and as we continue to grow, we're going to be like 700 people strong. It also reduces the need for the amount of people we need in HR, so we can have a more efficient team through the use of technology. So that is a phased approach that is probably going to take another like year to complete. Right, when is the pharmacy system going to be done? That's June of this year. So anybody that fills their script there, you should be starting to see a change in it over that time. We actually are trialing it first in Portmore, since it's our newest store, and a little more slow before we like move it out into the busy like Kingston and Fairview. One of the things that after we looked at the HR audit, there was a lot of recommendations. One of them was to go to an HR system, which we implemented. The other one was to hire a recruiting manager, which we did, and it has proven invaluable. She's able to really tailor. I think before we were just so busy trying to fill things, we took much more of a cookie cutter approach. And now that we have a recruiting manager, it's a lot more streamlined. So we're getting better candidates that are more suited, better hires, all of that we've been getting great feedback. As I mentioned, very exciting, the Monarch acquisition, 3 locations in Kingston and 1 in Portmore. We are close to finalizing that. We've been doing our due diligence, but that should be completed by the end of this month. So one of the other exciting things that we have is I mentioned that we are really having a big push on beauty. We're actually going to be introducing 2 new concept stores. One is going to be within Waterloo, and one is actually adjacent to the Fairview location. It's going to be called Aura, like your aura about you, how you're feeling, and how it makes you feel, stuff like that. And this is a very strategic move to try and attract more luxurious high-end brands. What we found is when we've been going through to try and do all of these, a lot of them don't want to be in a pharmacy. They want a more elevated feeling. And even though we're not a typical pharmacy, it's hard to explain that to a lot of those brands. They're very strict about what they want. So this will be in April. You'll see the new locations, like a much more elevated feel. It's going to have some higher end brands. What were some of them? Hermes, Armani, like some very shishi brands. But it's been doing very well for us, and we want to really capitalize on it. And we know that we're the right people to do it. We're more than a pharmacy. Everybody knows that. And so if you're working, you'll see it. You can see you've seen Boarded Up. Have you been wondering what it is? Well, it'll be unveiled in April. So anyway, so we have been busy, and we know we're going to have an even busier year trying to wrap all of this stuff up. But it was a great year, and we look forward to even more continued success. Thank you.
very nice, Stephanie. I will now invite the members to the question and answer session. Any questions from the public? Nobody? Ladies and gentlemen, well, we have heard your comments, observations, criticisms, and suggestions. You know what they say, silence is consent that Fontana is doing a great job with the CEO and the COO. The best CEO and purchaser in Jamaica and the best COO, all right? So nobody is saying anything negative, so clearly they're doing a great job. We have endeavored to answer your questions. Well, the question was, is Fontana doing a good job? And the silence answered that, yes. And trust that we have done this to your satisfaction. I now wish to proceed to the consideration of the resolutions before us and ask the Secretary to continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a show of hands, we will vote on the resolutions at this meeting. To receive the reports of the directors and auditors and the company's audited accounts for the financial year ended June 30th, 2024, to consider and if thought fit pass the following resolution. Be it resolved that the reports of the audited accounts of the company for the financial year ending June 30th, 2024, together with the reports of the directors and auditors thereon, be and are hereby adopted. Would a member please propose the motion? Would somebody second? Seconder? Can I have your name, please, sir? Those in favor? Against? Oh, the motion declared, the motion is carried. Declared. In accordance with Article 105 of the company's Articles of Incorporation, the directors retiring by rotation shall retire from office and be eligible, and being eligible, offer themselves for re-election. These directors are Raymond Therian, Ann Chang, Lauren Peart. Be it resolved that the directors retiring by rotation be re-elected by a single resolution. Would a member please propose the motion? Somebody, seconder, please. Seconder. Those in favor? Against? Okay, I declare the motion carried. Be it resolved that Raymond Therian, Ann Chang, and Lauren Peart be and are hereby re-elected as directors of the company. Would a member please propose the motion? Would a member please? Okay. Seconder, please. Those in favor? Against? I declare the motion carried. Be it resolved that the interim dividend of 10 cents per share paid on January 5th, 2024 be and is hereby ratified. Would a member please propose the motion? Seconder? Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Be it resolved that the interim dividend of 25 cents per share paid on August 12, 2024 be and is hereby ratified. Can I have a proposal? Seconder, please. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the resolution regarding the remuneration of the directors of the company, and it is as follows. Be it resolved that the amount shown in the company's audited accounts for the year ended June 30th, 2024, as fees of the directors for their services as directors be and are hereby approved. May I have a proposal? Seconder, please. Can I have a seconder from the floor? Those in favor? Against? Declare the motion carried. Messrs. Crichton Mullins and Associates has agreed to remain in office as the company's auditors, and we wish to retain them based on their satisfactory performance. So I will now ask someone to propose the following resolution. Be it resolved that the remuneration of the auditors, Crichton Mullins and Associates, who have signified their willingness to continue in office, be such as may be agreed between the directors of the company and the auditors. May I have a proposal? A seconder, please. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Chairman?
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the business of the annual general meeting. On behalf of the board and management of Fontana, we thank you for your continued commitment to the company. We look forward to seeing you next year as we again report on the stewardship of your investment in this great company. Thank you, everyone.